Oh, hello there. My name's Mr. Evans. And this is my station. I do all sorts of things around here. It's my job to make sure everything at the station runs just the way it should, without confusion or delay. But no matter how busy I am, I always find time to read a story about the adventures of my good friend Thomas. Would you like to hear a story? That's fantastic. I'll tell you what, I'll meet you in my office. See you there. Oh, hello again. Either I'm getting slower or you're getting faster. No, I'm definitely slower today. Jolly useful things, watches and clocks. You can use them to see if you're running on time or running late. In today's story, Thomas is worried he won't be on time to meet someone very important on a very special trip. The story is called A Visit to London. Thomas the Tank Engine and Henry, Gordon and Edward were all shiny and polished. Their drivers wanted them to look their best. The Fat Controller was going to choose one of them to do a very special job. The Fat Controller inspected each engine. Finally, he announced, "Thomas, I choose you to take me and Lady Hatt to London to meet the Queen. We must get to Big Ben at 4 o'clock for the start of her birthday celebrations." None of the engines were sure who Big Ben was, but Thomas shivered with excitement. He would be meeting the Queen and going to London, the biggest city in the land. The next morning, Thomas was cobbled up to Annie, who carried the Fat Controller and Lady Hatt. They chugged off to Brendam Docks, where Cranky was waiting to put them on the ferry to the mainland. On the mainland, Thomas puffed through the countryside. "Mustn't be late, mustn't be late," Thomas puffed. "Hurry, hurry, hurry," he panted, as at last, roofs and chimneys came into sight. "Good work, Thomas," said his driver. "We've arrived in Greenwich. That building is the Royal Observatory. They have a telescope there that can see all the way to the stars." "Can it see as far as Sodor?" Thomas asked. "Much further," laughed his driver. At the River Thames, Thomas was told that they would be finishing the journey by boat. Thomas saw a big sailing ship. "Is that the boat?" he wondered. "No," said his driver, smiling. "That's a very old ship called the Cutty Sark. It used to bring tea all the way from China." All at once there was a merry toot toot. "I'm Dilly," said a friendly barge. "I'll take you into London and show you some sights along the way." It's 3 o'clock, Thomas said nervously. "We mustn't be late for the Queen and Big Ben." With Thomas and Annie safely aboard, Dilly set off. A big bridge loomed up in front of them. To Thomas's amazement, it opened up to let them through. "This is Tower Bridge," Dilly told him. "And there's the Tower of London. It's almost 1,000 years old." "That's the Shard," said Dilly. "It's the tallest building in England." "The dome is St. Paul's Cathedral," Dilly said. "It was built after the Great Fire of London, more than 300 years ago." "That big wheel is the London Eye," Dilly went on. "From the top you can see all over London." "These are the Houses of Parliament," Dilly explained. "This is where laws are made. And there's the Elizabeth Tower with its huge bell, Big Ben." Suddenly there was a loud bong, 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 bong. 4 o'clock, said Dilly. "We're right on time." "So that's Big Ben," laughed Thomas, looking up at the big clock. As Dilly pulled up at Westminster, the royal party came out onto the terrace. The Queen thanked the Fat Controller for running such a fine railway. "I couldn't do it without Thomas and the other really useful engines," replied the Fat Controller. Thomas beamed from buffer to buffer. That evening, as Thomas, Annie and Dilly rested on the Thames, brilliant fireworks lit up the sky. Crackle, whoosh, boom! Thomas couldn't wait to tell his friends on Sodor about Big Ben, meeting the Queen, and everything he'd seen in the biggest city in the land. Wow, what a great adventure! Thomas saw lots of amazing sights. He wasn't late to meet the Queen, and he found out that Big Ben isn't a person. It's a famous bell that lives in a very tall clock tower. And that's given me an idea. Let's make a tall tower with a clock face, just like the one Big Ben lives in. Are you ready? Let's get started. We're going to make a collage of Big Ben's tower and clock. It's also a calendar. To make it, you'll need lots of pieces of paper and card that you've recycled. Some string, some card for the background and frame, some scissors, some glue and a brush. Oh, and a stick-on calendar. Start with some blue paper for a blue sky background. Draw the shape of some city rooftops onto black paper. Get an adult to help you cut out the shape. Then glue it to your sky background. Now we'll make the tower. Get an adult to cut out 3 rectangles like the ones here to make the tower shape. Then glue the shapes to the background. There's lots of gluing to do to make this collage. To give our tower some detail, I'm cutting strips of corrugated card. Glue them onto the rectangle shapes to use as texture on our collage. Now cut out a square from some gold card. This will be the gold detail around the clock face. Also cut out some shapes to make the tower's pointy roof. And glue them on. Make a round clock face and glue it to the middle of the gold square. Use a piece of card slightly bigger than your tower background as a frame for your collage. You can use any colour. Red works well behind the blue sky. Make 2 shapes for the hands of the clock. Get an adult to help you. And use a notice board pin to push the hands onto the clock face. That way they can move. For safety, glue a small piece of wood to cover the point of the pin. Now you can stick some string to the back of your collage with sticky tape, so that you can hang it up. Finally, stick on the calendar at the bottom of the tower, and you're done. Bong, 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 bong. Time for me to go. See you soon.